Honestly,
Yeah.
I'm not one for fluff, and I'm one for like very specific, tangible, actionable answers because we can talk our way through whatever, but like the truth of it is that creating actual time to connect has been everything. For us, that looks like coffee walks. I mean, that's the name of our podcast
I
because
love it.
it literally has changed
Yeah.
our dynamic to have those moments. We have our family virtual assistant create date days and nights, and they don't have to be fancy. Literally today was blocking off 3 hours for us to go play pickleball and have a coffee date and look over our upcoming travel. It doesn't have to be fancy, but being very intentional about creating that time has been incredibly important.
I'm Julie Bullitt. I've been a family therapist for over 30 years.
I'm David Bullitt. I've been a divorce and family lawyer for more than 35 years.
Together, we have been married for more than 37 years.
In our professional practices, the two of us have been witnesses to individuals and families struggling with life's most difficult challenges. In this podcast, we will talk about the conversations we have had,
The conversations we should have had.
and those that every relationship needs to have in order to find success, happiness, and fulfillment.
This is Conversations for Couples.
The podcast. We are back on Conversations for Couples.
The podcast.
Oh, okay.
I almost missed it this time.
Almost missed it. Okay. We got a really, really cool couple with us today, folks. She's a trauma surgeon, a professor, a founder of an organization called the Modern Mom Lab. He is an emergency room physician, a medical communicator who translates complex medicine into clean and clear, actionable advice for patients and their families. Aside from them being medical doctors, they've got some really interesting stuff to tell us both personally and professionally. Welcome aboard, Brittany Bankhead and Brian Kendall. Thanks for coming.
Yay! Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us. We're excited.
Stoked
Yeah,
to be
we
here.
are too. I know we've had to cancel and move things a couple of times, so I really wanted to get into your story a little bit. And so let's just start there, if that's okay.
Sure.
And you have been married twice to each other.
To each
To
other.
each other.
That's right.
So
Yeah, that's a little asterisk.
let's unpack that a little bit. Tell us a little bit about that story and your background and so forth. How you got together, went apart, and come back together again.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, you want me to? All right. All right. So, well, we met in college. I was doing an extra semester of college because I loved it so much. And Brittany was in her senior year of college. And we met in a medical communications class.
That is ironic now.
It is ironic
now. That I
now.
think
Yeah.
about
Medical
it, yeah.
communication.
Yeah. And so that's kind of where we first met. We started to date after I had left college. Brittany went off and did her master's in Miami, and I went off into the Peace Corps and was in Albania. And so we started dating internationally.
Which again is funny because he had said, put me somewhere that I can't communicate with anyone
Yeah.
in the outside world.
Yeah.
And then we met. So they had
Wow.
plopped him in the middle of
Albania.
very rural
Yeah.
Albania.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
so, but anyway, we dated long distance while he was in the Peace Corps and I was in Miami in grad school and had only ever known long distance. He ended up coming back for family reasons early. He came to Miami first. We had our first kiss on the beach and were engaged a week later after 6
Wow.
months of dating.
How long
Yeah.
have you been sort of like talking and dating long
Like
distance?
6 months.
6 months. Yeah.
Okay,
Like,
so pretty
yeah.
quickly. Pretty quickly.
Pretty quick.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
were super young. I mean,
Yeah.
I was barely 21. We're 23,
23,
24.
24. Yeah.
We got married 7 months later,
Yeah.
lived in a teeny tiny apartment,
In Miami.
ate one casserole a week, like
Yeah.
just, really bonded over no money and
Yes.
the whole world ahead
Had
of
you
us.
seen each other at all during that 6 or 7 months prior
No.
to?
No.
All of our conversations, this is before even like Zoom.
Or
Mhm.
So
FaceTime. or
FaceTime, everything.
anything.
So all of our conversations were over G-Chat,
Yeah.
email, or
Like
Militel.
Militel.
Militel, like
phone
this military phone system that you could buy international minutes on. And the lady would
Yes.
come on and be like, you have 5 minutes remaining.
Oh my
You're like,
God, That's
So you
Yeah.
date
great.
and have a kiss on the beach, and you
Yep.
get married 7 months later. Must have been a hell of
Yeah.
a kiss.
It was, yeah.
Okay. It wasn't like fireworks.
What?
Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've ever
That's okay.
Okay, so is
There's a
that
lot
sort of like
of
Yeah.
so I want to unpack this. I do a lot of couples therapy.
Oh, you're in trouble.
She's like, oh, I know.
Oh, yeah.
There's so much here.
Yeah. So no, but like the quickness of getting married, sort of like coming together quickly, after doing the long distance, did that come into play with sort of like the disintegration of the first marriage, if you will?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And what's interesting to me is that was young, and looking back on it, we were young, but at the time we were old. Like all of our friends were already married.
Yeah.
Compared
Wow.
to
Yeah.
our cultural,
Yeah.
religious surroundings, we were very mature.
Yeah.
And that played in a lot
Yeah.
to it. So yeah,
Well, let me
so
stop
we-
you for a second. When you
Yeah,
say our
please.
cultural and religious surround, tell me what you mean by that.
both. So we probably more me than him grew up in a very conservative household, which meant very specific type of values with which I was raised. He had also chosen a specific set of values, and both of those meant a very early marriage.
Okay.
And so, and then culturally, we went to a university where a lot of our friends shared those same type of conservative and Christian values. More religious affiliated than spiritually affiliated, I think we would agree now. And yeah, so that was a very big part. And I think, if I'm being honest, a lot of my individual personality was very like,
Yeah.
I've got
Try to
it,
get it done.
I've got things planned, and this is how it's
Yeah.
going to go, and this is our timeline, and so that certainly factored in as well,
Yeah.
on my own accord.
Yep.
Yeah. So you were married how long, and kind of tell us the timeline of the marriage, and then the divorce and all
Yeah.
So
that.
there was a lot that happened in our first marriage, because our goal was to both go to medical school. We wanted to go together. So we started that journey together about a year after we had been married. Medical school then took us, we had our son when we were in our 4th year of medical school. And then we had to do the match, which is this couples match. And long story short, I ended up in New York City. Brittany ended up initially in Dallas. And so she was with our son in Dallas.
And then we kind of flip-flopped, and that was for 2
Flip-flopped.
years. Then when I was in Michigan and he was in Dallas, and then we moved to Austin, and in the middle of it, we had another baby, and it was a lot. And then we moved to Boston for fellowship, and then
And
there
then
was
COVID
COVID,
happened.
and so you add in these massive swings in long-term family across the country in COVID, where we're both frontline healthcare workers, and
Long distance marriage.
just everything. And we were married for 13
13
years.
the first time
Built
around.
the big, beautiful dream forever home. We were finally both attendings, and then everything just crumbled at that point. And we were sitting in this giant, beautiful dream home that was completely empty and void. And it kind of was the literally perfect prime example of our life, where everything looks perfect outside, and on the inside, it's empty and cold. And we were finally just done. Yeah.
So or was it one of you more than the other? Sort of.
It
said,
was
like,
me.
Okay,
It
you were
was
like,
me
this
more.
is not working.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we both knew it wasn't working, but I was the pushier one. Post COVID, post PTSD, post suicidal ideation, I came out with a lot of counseling and really started to dive into, I don't want to live my life miserable anymore. And that's in a lot of different spaces and ways. And this is one of them. And yeah, I was definitely the pusher, and he finally was like, no, yeah, and so we were in a counseling session, and finally said, okay, that's it.
That's it.
And
Yeah.
I think too that the other reason, and you never know going into divorce, but we really, when we sat down and talked about it, it was like, divorce also doesn't have to look like it looks for everybody. And we could pave our own way for what divorce looks like. And you can't know, you're not promising the togetherness, but and so the idea that we could potentially create a divorced new family situation, I think also helped alleviate the scaredness and the sadness of what that was going to be.
Our whole goal with the divorce was we put the kids first and put their well-being and stability in front and
Mhm.
center. And so like for our divorce, we had just one attorney who just basically filled out the paperwork, and Brittany and I figured everything else out. There wasn't any.
He told us if you can have a dining room conversation and
Yeah.
figure it all out,
Mhm.
okay,
Yeah.
here's the things to note and we
Mm-hmm.
did it all in
Mm-hmm.
one shot
Yep.
and we actually went to his office, we signed together,
Mm-hmm.
and we bought houses in the same neighborhood with the pool in between and had a golf cart to go back and forth
Community
and
pool, not like two
sorry,
houses back to
yeah.
back. Yeah.
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 And we both work a lot of shifts, obviously for our jobs, and so we had a completely open door policy, obviously with the text before of, I'm missing the kids, can I come give them a hug? Absolutely. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm coming back home. I could really just use, some time. Yep, for sure. And that was very open. And
Mm-hmm.
then obviously unknown, we divorced for good. People have asked like, oh, did you know you were going to get back together? No,
Yeah.
we
No.
did not divorce thinking it was in the cards to get back together, which I think was the key
Mm-hmm.
to
Mhm.
us being able to improve and grow in the ways that we did.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, I want to
unknown to
ask a
one
little
another,
bit.
we had totally dove in ourselves
Like personal journeys on
individually,
ourselves. Yeah.
unbeknownst to the other, which
Yeah.
was the key to
So let me
everything.
And then
ask
two
a
and a
little.
half. Yeah.
Oops, go ahead.
Please.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, then 2.5 years later, after that, we were sitting at the pool and kind of looked across the pool at each other, like, wait a second, like,
Because we were both at the place where we had been dating and kind of, had done so
Dating
much work on
different people?
ourselves.
mm-hmm.
Dating
Yes,
different
yeah,
people? Okay,
dating
so you
different
both went out.
people.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And we're clearly, 2.5 years after divorce, it was like, okay, now, and having done work on ourselves, now I know what I want.
Yeah.
And so now it's like, okay, I'm looking for this person. He was doing the same. And then we were at the pool with our kids, sitting at this one corner of the pool. And we kind of looked at each other, and in my mind, it was like, oh my gosh, I think he's what I'm looking for,
Uh-huh.
which
Yeah.
is kind of odd.
Yeah. That's how it was my mind too. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, and I could really see all the changes in Brittany that she had made. And it was just like, wow, like yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what
Yeah.
I want.
So this in between time, let's clarify. I know that came from someplace. There's a Stranger Things. I don't remember the in between. This in between time. Do you? So you were in Boston during the pandemic. Where did you?
Mhm.
Where were you physically when the divorce happened?
In Lubbock,
Yeah.
Lubbock,
West
Texas.
Texas. Yeah.
The two of you had both gone to Texas,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And so you get divorced, and now you're living in this neighborhood that's close enough so that each of you can pop in and see the kids. It's easier to share the kids. Tell us brief. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this part because I do want to get to marriage number two. But tell us a little bit about how you managed the emotions, if there were any emotions between the two of you during that 2.5 year period where you're living down the street from each other.
Ugh, I like how you look at me.
Yeah.
It was a roller coaster. We, I think at the very beginning we kept saying we're always going to be family. Like your ride is hitched to mine no matter what. Like we've got these kids for life. And another thing our divorce attorney said, which I will credit him for, was you can either be 50-yard line parents or you can be end zone to end zone parents. And when your kid looks up in the stands, what are they going to see? And are they going to have to look in two different places or one? And it was like, oh man, like
Yeah.
that is a really good, both analogy and true because our son
Yeah.
was playing football at the time. And so that really stuck. And we just kept making small decisions every day, at least on my end,
Yeah.
small decisions that tried to keep that in mind
Mhm.
and tried to keep, we both are really good parents and never wanted to take that away from either of our kids. And so as long as we led with that, the rest just kind of followed. And truly, I think all of the work we were doing on ourselves also left a lot of room for being a good
Yeah.
co-parent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Because
neat.
because I personally felt whole, like being able to
Yes.
be myself
Yes.
and I realized that during our first marriage, I had really given up a lot of myself and wasn't the person that I wanted to be. And so now all of a sudden being able to take up some of these hobbies that I hadn't been doing and just spending time with family and all of that really made me a much better person.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So you're sitting at the pool, you're looking at each other and you're going, "Oh, wow. This might be my guy, and this might be my girl, and
Yeah.
isn't this strange?" So who says it first, or how did it like happen, and then what'd you do from there?
I
I
think
felt like it kind of happened simultaneously
it
to
kind of
me.
did. There
Yeah.
was like, I mean, it was like back to early dating where you're kind of sticking your toe out there and trying to like get a feel because he had been dating someone till very recently before that, which I knew about. So I didn't know that they were no longer dating. And so I think there was some dabbling and some small talk. And then I remember you said, well, if the question were if I'm dating anyone, the answer would be no, or something,
Yeah.
something like that. And it was like, oh, okay. Um, and then it was like, oh, well, no, yeah, he is really hot, actually.
Uh,
And yeah, I
Yeah.
that's what I
That's
remember.
what I remember
And then we
too.
went and took the kids to get Mexican food
Yeah.
that night, and um, yeah,
Yeah. It just kind of
nothing,
started from there. We started kind of
nothing,
to date a little
Hmm.
bit
yeah,
What
and
did you tell the
without
kids? What did you tell the
without telling
kids,
the
if
kids.
we didn't tell
anything?
them for a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we tried to make sure that that was something that was going because my biggest concern with it was like, okay, I see that things have changed, but are they actually
Really
like really
changed.
mhm.
changed? Like if
Yeah.
we get back together, are all the same problems going to like rear their head, and then all that's going to happen
Yeah.
is it's not going to work.
And for a minute, I think we had to work through some kinks because we had only known that unhealthy version of
Hmm.
our relationship. And so getting back together, it was very easy to kind of slip back into those unhealthy habits, even though
Mhm.
we had become two whole people. And so then we had some sticky points
Yeah.
of having to get through that and then be like, no, we didn't want that version of us. We want this new version of
Hmm.
us.
Hmm.
Which took some of a roller coaster, but was why we didn't tell the kids for a while until
Yeah.
we worked into that. And then we started dreaming real big. And
Hmm.
then it was really fun
Yeah.
to move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how long from this sort of aha time at the pool
Hmm.
to when
Hmm.
you're back married again? How much time passes this time around in
Yeah,
between?
we got back together like late July,
Hmm.
slash August, and then we actually went to the courthouse
Yeah.
in
In
November.
November. Yeah.
What
Yeah.
Like
did
we didn't learn
people?
anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what did people say? Like, what did your family say? What did I mean, I'm assuming that the kids were happy because every kid wants their parents together, but
You,
what's the reactions?
So it's funny.
yeah.
So our son actually was not all that
Yeah.
excited.
Hmm.
Because we had done, I think we did such a good job co-parenting. Both kids were
Hmm.
like, well, if your parents are divorced, it just means they live in different houses and nothing else changes. And we're
That's what
like,
he was
okay,
telling
well,
his
we're
friends.
we're
Yeah.
glad you feel that way. But he was kind of pissed and he
Huh.
was like,
Why did you get
why
divorced?
did you get
Mhm.
divorced if
Yeah.
you were just going to get back together? Like,
Yeah.
why did
Mhm.
we go through all of that and
Hmm.
do that? And
It was a good question.
understandably
Yeah.
so. And yeah, that's how he felt. Our families were
Both excited.
ecstatic. They were
Yeah.
so happy. They
Hmm.
always wanted it to work out, but had respected what we
Mhm.
had done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a cool story. I have a totally offbeat question,
Shocking.
which I get these
Yeah.
all the time
Yes.
as you're talking. So as a ER doc and a trauma surgeon, you let your son play football?
Oh,
Oh,
jeez. Really?
Great
that is
question.
a
I
great.
mean, I'm
Yeah.
just curious about
Oh,
Well,
that.
you know you're not going to get a
We.
consistent answer to
So,
that.
like, tell us
Yeah.
about that because I am
oh,
a Jewish grandmother, and I stopped going to my grandson's football games because,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
he's little, I just couldn't
Yeah.
watch. So tell,
So we have had many, many, many conversations about this.
Yes.
Our son, it's one of those things of balance of like we have let our son. Um, we've told him all the information. We have given him all of our knowledge and everything else. And ultimately, that's his passion. His 100% passion is football. And to not allow him to play it would be denying who he is.
Hmm.
And so we make sure that he has good equipment. We make sure that,
So that,
yeah,
yeah, and
yeah,
that's where the then parental part comes
yeah,
in, is we don't want him to wake up when he's 21 and be like, my parents didn't let me do the one thing
yeah.
I
Right.
love in life.
Yep.
However, there's a lot of things our kids love that are not good for them. So the catch 22 to that is, if you're going to play football, then you need to make sure you practice this much, that you wear this kind of equipment, that you eat this much protein, that you do
Yeah.
things in this way, and that you listen to your coaches, and that your grades are this. And so, we just are trying to give him the best toolbox we can for the
Hmm.
thing that he loves, and it comes with risks. And I think the other thing we know as a trauma surgeon and an ER doctor is that, man, oh man, like, synchronized swimming
Yeah.
can lead to
Yeah.
an awful thing.
Yeah.
Just,
right,
and,
anything.
and I
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
yeah. And so I
Yeah.
think
Yeah. So, sorry, I
it's
just had to
hard.
ask
She,
that. I could,
No,
we
that's a
could,
No,
great
we could,
question.
she's
Yeah.
not a football
we
fan.
could do a,
She
yeah.
hates when a football team hits a home run. She doesn't like that at all.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this question. So stray away from football for just a moment. You're back and you're married again. Do you ever
Mhm.
find yourselves where you say, oh, I'm leaning back into what happened the first time around, and I need to change course and fix that. And what
Yeah.
does that look like, and how do you do it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But honestly, I think our relationship is foundationally and
Yeah.
systemically
Different.
totally different
Yeah.
and better. I think when the problems arise, it's when our individual selves
Start to go
start to go
backwards.
back to our
Yeah.
pre,
Hmm.
Yeah.
younger, more immature versions that we have to work on. And so then
Yeah.
you see that in the relationship.
Well, and I think what I've appreciated about Brittany is that as you don't always when you're doing it yourself, you don't always recognize it. And so it's been really nice because Brittany at some points, and I think I've done maybe the same for you at sometimes, is like, hey, you're going backwards. Like you're starting to go back to those same habits that you're doing in the first marriage where you're completely deferring to me.
Mhm.
You're not standing up for what you want. And so it's good to have her kind of point that out, and then it kind of snaps me out of it. And I'm like, wait a second, you're right. Like I need to be my own person. And so yeah, that's but because we have so much history and we've known each other like 20 years now.
Yeah.
She knows me very well. I know her very well, and so it's very nice to have a partner who is willing to say something like that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. And so let me ask you this in terms of your relationship now. How do you balance? You both have busy careers. You both have, I'm going to assume, fairly emotionally draining careers, at least on occasion.
Mm.
So, how do you balance those careers with raising your children and at the same time keeping yourselves close?
Honestly,
Yeah.
I'm not one for fluff, and I'm one for like very specific, tangible, actionable answers. Because we can talk our way through whatever, but like the truth of it is that creating actual time
Mm-hmm.
to connect has been everything.
Mm-hmm.
So for us, that looks like coffee walks. I mean, that's the
Hmm.
name of our podcast
I
because
love it.
it literally has changed
Yeah.
our dynamic to have those moments. We have our family virtual assistant create date days and nights, and they don't have to be fancy. Literally, today was blocking off 3 hours for us to go play pickleball and have a coffee date and look over our upcoming travel. It doesn't have to be fancy,
Mm-hmm.
but being very intentional about creating that time has been incredibly important. And I
Mm-hmm.
I think too the we give each other a lot more space on, I need to, in terms of the emotional bandwidth of other things going on. Like, I need to just emotionally dump this, and
Hmm.
we don't need to figure it out. I just need to get it
Yeah.
out. And we don't try to fix everything anymore.
Yeah.
Like, we just give each other the space to feel it and then support, and then that's all it has to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, we call that rant or remedy,
Yeah.
where
I
you
love that.
like,
Yes.
Yes.
are
Yes.
you wanting a solution, or are you just wanting to vent, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, rant
Yeah.
or
Yes.
remedy.
Exactly.
I love this discussion, and I mean, people can learn so much about you. I'm glad you guys are doing your podcast because your story is interesting. One of the things that I'm seeing with both of you in just the short time that we've been sitting is just the mutual respect that you have for each other.
Mm.
And as you
Yeah.
talked about the breakup, the marriage, the divorce process, and how you were able to keep that civil, which not a lot of people can do because they're very emotional. And David can tell you war stories about, people
Let's not. Yeah.
losing their mind during divorce. But you guys really respect each other, and I can I can see it, I can feel it, and I think that that's probably one of the things that keeps you together, is that ability to really see each other wholly and appreciate, the good stuff and the bad.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. There's no bigger cheerleader that I have than Brittany for me, and Brittany doesn't have any bigger fans than me for her. Like,
Yeah.
we are constantly celebrating each other's personal achievements, and just so and knowing that, like, when she is doing well, like, that's her happy place, and so then that makes me even want to support it more, and the same vice versa. I feel like she really supports the things that I want to do, which I just love. It's so nice to be able to have that.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
lovely. So
Yeah,
let me
that's
ask one last question. Brittany, you have a pet project, this Modern Mom Lab. Tell us what that, tell our folks what that is exactly.
Yeah. So Modern Mom Lab was it is my warm hug to the world, basically, which is, no small feat, but being a mom, any mom knows, that it can become your biggest identity and also be your biggest, hurdle, all at the same time. Your greatest happiness, your greatest frustration, and all these things. And I just was so sad. I grew up with a mom who was, at home, but I am a very working mom. And I just have hated this notion that you have to fit into whatever box society tells us we have to fit into. You're either a working mom or a stay-at-home mom. You're a this or you're a that. And I'm just over it. And I was over being told that because I'm a working mom, I can't do any of these things or have this kind of relationship with my children. And in the same way, I have very close women to me as moms who, because they have been at home, have been unable to find meaningful, flexible work that actually means something. And so this is an entire project to help give moms actionable ways to live out the dream of their own, not anybody else's dream, and to not have to check any boxes. And right now, that specifically means that for women at home who want to have a flexible job and truly be able to utilize skills that they've had, we train them how to become family virtual assistants. And then for moms who have these busy, high-powered careers who need help with just those mom things, we take these family virtual assistants and we pair them up. And now both of them get to mutually partner and benefit from one another. And my own FVA and I have just cried tears over how
Yeah.
much we have changed each other's lives. And
Oh,
so that is what I am setting out to do in the
Well,
world.
I
and there
love it.
have the people, the women that you are helping have also cried tears of
Yeah.
happiness.
Mm.
They
Yeah.
on both sides. Like, it has changed everybody that you have worked with so far. Their lives have truly been changed for the
Thank you.
better, and it's
Thank you.
been really cool to watch.
Thank
There's
you.
that cheerleader we were talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
So,
So it's like
I'm
a
just
match.
so proud because
Yeah.
she has literally built this thing from the ground up, and the struggle is real.
It is.
She has put probably more hours into this than like it's probably like more hours than medical school.
Ah,
That like it has been a lot of blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah.
well, that's
So,
got to
yeah.
be that's got to be fulfilling. And if folks want to, and we're going to put your Instagram, both your Instagram handles, I guess we call them handles, still Instagram names, in our show notes. But if folks want to find out more about this Modern Mom Lab, we'll put this in as well. What's the best way to reach you?
Honestly, I'll have all the info on my Instagram page, so that is
Okay.
totally fine. Or they can just go to modernmomlab.com.
Excellent.
That's
Well,
great.
it has been so much fun talking to you. You guys
Yes.
have so much to share that people can learn, I think, in their relationship, and they don't have to be doctors to learn it. And we thank you for taking the time. You both have been great. I know you're coming from Charleston, South Carolina. You probably have family or patients to deal with. And again, we appreciate you both being here, Brian and Brittany. Folks, we are the Bullets, TheBullitts. Find us on all social media platforms at The Bullets. Hope you enjoyed this discussion. If you want more, subscribe and join us next time on Conversations for Couples.
The podcast.
Julie Bullitt is a professionally licensed clinical social worker and family therapist. David Bullitt is a divorce and family lawyer. Julie is not your therapist, and David is not your lawyer. This podcast is meant for educational and entertainment purposes only.